Hey, this is Mr. Warden. This is the Do Now video key for Do Now 28.2 for B-Block. And if you were selling personal sized automatic banana peelers for $100 each, and you knew that you could sell 300 of them, how would you set up an equation to show how much money you would get from selling your automatic banana peelers? Now, I'm just wanting you to set up an equation. So here's what it's going to be. How much you're going to make, okay, your revenue, which is a word for how much you're going to make, will end up being $100 times how many you would sell, times 300. Of course, that would end up being 30,000, which is not bad chump change, but that's okay. That's not what we're after right now. We're just after the equation. Oh, look, automatic banana peelers are a real thing, but not the personal size one. Perhaps you'll enjoy that video. So that worked pretty well. Now, if you do your research, you did some research, and you found out that you would lose 20 sales if you raise the price by $10. So how could you set up an equation now to account for the loss of 20 sales and raising your price by $10? Okay, remember, you started with $100 as your price, and you could sell 300 at that time. So our new revenue equation is going to end up being $100 plus $10. Okay, and that's going to be times $300 minus, or not $300, 300 sales minus 20 sales. So one $10 increase, lose 20 sales. And that would work out. Now, you may have wanted to say it's something like 110. Maybe you may have said 110, like that. You could have done it this way, times 280. That would work. But I wanted to set it up like this because it's going to reveal something later on to break it up like that. Okay. Now, if you came up with something like 100 plus $10 times 300 minus 20 sales, that works pretty well. Now, let's see if we can come up with an equation for what happens if you raise the price $10 3 times. And of course, you lost 20 sales on each one. So now our revenue equation is going to look like this. 100 plus $10 times 3. And then that's going to be times our sales, which are going to be 300 minus 20 sales times 3. And of course, you might have come up with $130. That, because that would be 3 $10 price increases, times 300 minus 20 times 30, 20 times 3, which is going to be 300 minus 60. So you might have come up with 240 sales. That would work too. But once again, I'm not doing that myself because it will reveal something really useful. So in 1D, I asked the question, so what if we came up, so if you came up with that, that works well. But what if we decided X was the number of times you raise the price? So that means that instead of 3 or 1 or 2, here we could just say X. And I'll say money made equals $100 times $100 plus $10 times X price increases. And then that's going to be times 300 minus 20 times X price increases. So the question here is, what does the $100 plus 10X represent? That is going to be the price for X number of price increases. It's not the money you would make overall, because that's going to be price times sales. And it's not how many you're going to sell, because this is the equation that's based on the starting price of $100 and then $10 increases X number of times. Now, what does the 300 minus 20X represent? Well, you started with 300 sales, and you lost 20 sales every time you raised the price. So 300 minus 20 times X price increases. That's the number of automatic banana peelers you would sell. All right, now final question to consider here is what kind of shape would this make? 100 plus 10x times 300 minus 20x if you were to graph it. Well, these are two linear equations, and we're multiplying them. And we already know that a parabola is made by that because it's the product of two linear equations. It's a quadratic polynomial. Right? I hope that helped.